Alexa, play LBC Radio London.
LBC London from TuneIn. GP and Medical Director of Primary Care in England. COVID-19 is still with us, so it's good that 12 to 15-year-olds can now get a second COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccines give your children the best possible protection against the virus and help to keep them in school. Get your 12 to 15-year-old vaccinated 12 weeks after their first dose. Book online or find your nearest walk-in centre at nhs.uk/COVID vaccination.
Mother's Day.
To help you travel with confidence on the TfL network, we're cleaning regularly with antiviral disinfectant, providing over 1,000 free hand sanitizer stations and frequently circulating buses and trains. To help everyone feel safe, we strongly recommend that you continue to wear a face covering when travelling on our services, unless you are exempt. Thank you for helping to keep yourself and others safe. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Cross Question with Ian Dale on LBC.
Ben in Exeter says, I tested positive for COVID this weekend. My employer insisted I work because the legislation had changed. Apart from sneezing a lot, I felt well enough to work. Hopefully, I didn't infect anyone. Well, hopefully you didn't, but I still find this quite shocking. I never wanted to do another COVID phone-in ever again, but I'm thinking that might be one to sort of store up, because people have obviously got some interesting stories there. With us in the studio, Alex Shelbrook, Charlotte Nichols, Alex Dean and Matt Stadlen. Let's go to our next caller. It's Rowan in Manchester. Hello, Rowan.
Hiya.
Hi, what would you like to ask?
Here's your ethical or moral question for you. Why hasn't hitting children been outlawed in England like it was in Wales today?
I was reading about this morning. I didn't actually know it was happening in Wales. Is it a blanket ban that any form of slapping, hitting a child could result in someone being arrested?
As far as I understood it, yes. I'm no legal expert.
Okay. How many of you have children around this table?
This is very unrepresentative.
I was going to say, I don't think any of you do.
This is a child-free panel, so
Alex, kick us off.
It does mean that no one gets to claim. All right, no one gets to claim the upper hand on knowledge. But then again, we all were children once, and we all have our own experiences of childhood. Beating children is appalling. Hitting children properly is completely wrong. On the other hand, I am told by those who do have children, and I'm told by those who look after children, that there is the occasional time when the child might be easily just to run out into the road and put their fingers in the socket, where they smack on the legs, has done no harm, and then in fact it's something that they remember. Now, that is something that people often say. I was smacked occasionally as a child when I did something wrong. I'm not saying that's the right or the approach. It was the era that I grew up in and the age that I am. What I do think what an interesting thing is going to come about here, which is not the thrust of your caller's question, but he did mention it and make it clear, that we're going to wind up with more and more divergence over time, with decisions being taken in different parts of our country. And it feels rather arbitrary, as a matter of fact. What are the rights and wrongs on this decision for an English situation to be in one direction and a Welsh to be in another?
And just on that point, didn't you find it interesting during the pandemic, or still in the pandemic, that the biggest crisis we faced since the Second World War, you had huge, not huge, but quite sizable divergence sometimes between the different nations, that on something as important as that.
Don't you think some of those were just overtly political?
Yeah, they might have been, but I just thought it was on the slapping or the hitting thing. I think it should be illegal, but I can understand those who worry that we might then be criminalising mums and dads who give their children the tiniest tap on the bum, as Alex says, to try and prevent them from serious harm by rushing across the road. I don't think there's a good enough reason not to make it illegal, and I think in reality, parents will obey it, and you'll get very, very few test cases.
But you run the risk of criminalising an entire group of people, hitherto completely law-abiding people who think they're doing the right thing.
Charlotte, haven't we got an adequate law in England at the moment where I think if you leave a mark on a child, a bruise, that is quite clear that you've gone too far, but a quick slap across the legs, as Alex suggested, I mean, I'm sure it probably happened to all of us in our childhood. It certainly did me, because I was a very naughty child.
I mean, I was a very naughty child, but I have to say I was never hit by either of my parents, and I'm sure there are people that will say that, that explains a lot about why I am the way that I am now, and, maybe it would be better if I had, but it's one of those things that I think particularly when you are looking at, something like child, you're not going to know whether or not you've hit them with sufficient force to leave a bruise after the fact. So that actually strikes me as quite an arbitrary kind of limit to set, that if you've left a mark, because certainly someone that bruises quite easily, I know that sometimes you'll have a little knock into something and, then you've got a little bruise on your hip for like a week for something that didn't even hurt. And other times you've, really stubbed your toe and there's not a single mark. So in terms of just as a way of marking, I think it's probably actually easier and neater to just say, this is not a thing that's acceptable. There are much better ways to discipline a child than to put in place a really strange limit around, what does and doesn't leave a mark. Because at the point at which your hand goes out, presumably you're not going to know whether there's going to be a mark.
Would you not have the right? I mean, if you hit a child in anger, and that's what should be outlawed for all. But if you are warning a child and you think that's the only way to do it in that particular circumstance, surely Alex's point about criminalising a whole group of blameless parents is right.
On a legal and technical point, how do you prove what the parent's mindset was at the moment at which their hand went up? Because in that case, you're saying, as long as your intention was to prevent harm rather than to discipline, you're asking it's probably easier and neater to ban it than to try to find reasons not to.
But also, Ian, you don't have to leave a mark, a physical mark, to leave a mental mark, a scar. When I was at primary school, probably I was about 5 years old, my best friend at the time, who was only 4, his parents were from Australia, went to Australia for holiday, came back about a week after time had started. I was so excited to see him. I ran out of the main assembly hall and ran to give him a hug in the little atrium. The headmistress came up to us, furious, got us both by the collars and smashed our heads together. I suspect neither of us had a mark, but that surely has to be illegal.
This is the result. Alex. Alex.
I mean, look, I'm a Conservative. I believe personal responsibility and I believe in making judgments. I don't believe my parents actually ever hit me. But my dad could put the fear of God in me when I messed about. And I tell you, did I mess about, especially at school. And he would really lay into me, but I don't think they ever hit me. And I think that it's
my dad never hit me, my mum did.
Neither of my parents did, I think. Well, I think it's a very old-fashioned view, actually, to hit a child. It was when there weren't any other sort of punishments. Nowadays, think of all the things that children have which they want. You take those away. And so you're not having any television for a week, you're not having any electronics for a week. Like, all those things, there are other ways to discipline now.
So if this came with the House of Commons, you would vote for them, would you?
Well, I'd tell you what I'd want to see before this goes to the House of Commons. I'd want to see, actually, that we're getting to grip with the children who are being murdered in this country, and social workers seem to be overlooking. But there's an important point here. There's a legislation in place that shouldn't happen, and yet it is happening. So if you want to bring in more legislation, what are you actually achieving? And I think that's the really important question. I think that...
I don't think the fact that some people break the law means you should be afraid of bringing in laws that we think are morally right.
No, I accept the point, but at the same time, can we also have ways to...
It's morally right.
True. To educate people in that, there are so many things you can do to spend. I haven't got any children. None of us got any children. Okay, but I mean, I've got a Jack Russell. He's now 14 years old. Puppies are difficult things to train. I don't think I ever actually hit him, but I would stare him in the eyes and show him who's boss.
Well, that's funny because I was about to mention dogs, and I mean I've got 2 dogs, and I've never hit. I would never hit them, but I've tapped them. Which they don't expect, and they think, "Oh, what's he done that for?" Hopefully, they then compute it. I mean, this is the problem. When you say hit a child, that word hit, it's quite emotive, isn't it? Whereas if you say slap or tap, it's sort of, it kind of makes it more acceptable, or not?
No, I think that.
Slap is better.
Okay, I think it is, and I think that it's a word that was widely recognised for a mild chastisement, and that's the point. Many of the constituents that basically have come in with us will think there's nothing wrong with that. And one of the things, even if you think it's absolutely morally right in the position that Matt set out, you've got to take the country with you. And I think that is quite difficult. You also do run the risk, by the way. I think it's Wrexham Football Club, where the entrance to the ground is in England and the pitch is in Wales. Who found the cause of the man who's very quickly if I'm wrong, but that found themselves on the wrong side of COVID regulation because they played a game in the English League whilst the literal pitch was remote. The prospect of England parents being extradited back to Wales or having smacked a child on a holiday.
In reality, I don't think it's going to happen. I think if you have a parent who gently taps a child, the child isn't going to call up the police. 99.9%.
See, I think, well, you're probably right on that, I suppose. But I think children are very conscious of, I know my rights. They say it to teachers all the time, the way that we would never have dreamt of doing.
Quite rightly so. And some people, the law might not be perfect, but the perfect shouldn't be the enemy of the good. And I think if we want to get to grips with the sort of violence you were talking about, Alec, and violence against women in our society, of which there is far, far too much, we need to set the bar pretty high and early in life. You don't want teaching children that violence is okay.
0345 6060 973 if you'd like to put your call to our panel. Rowan, thank you very much. Let's go back to Rowan very quickly. Do you agree with the ban in Wales?
Yes, absolutely, I do. I think any physical chastisement of a child, no matter if it's a slap or a tap or a hit, is entirely wrong.
Okay, thank you very much. Alex, you were wrong. It wasn't Wrexham.
There we go.
According to Ian in Wrexham, it's Chester.
Sorry, Ian. Quite right too. Chester was what I was after. So I couldn't find it on my phone, scrambling, looking.
8:47 is the time on LBC.
The Spring Statement 2022 on LBC. Put your questions to Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, we're kind of anticipating our energy bills going up, so we're kind of starting to budget for that.
Anything to do with reducing the cost of petrol, heating.
I know I'm no real off, but there's people worse than me.
How are they going to cope with energy increases of £2,000?
Put your questions to Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak. Ian Hale, tomorrow morning from 7. Listen on your radio and on Global Player. LBC.
From John Lewis can help you prepare for all the big milestones to come. Little moments can build big futures. Go to johnlewisfinance.com to find out more. As with all investing, your capital is at risk. Tax treatment depends on individual circumstances and may change in the future. John Lewis Investment Services are provided by Nutmeg Saving and Investment Limited.
Where's my brush?
Selco, it's where the trade goes. At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. In fact, save £10 on 2.4 metre use class 4 sleepers, now only £29.99 each ex VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at Selco. That charge the 20%. Get ready because the homestyle crispy chicken is back at McDonald's. A delicious crispy chicken breast, bacon, hot and spicy mayo, and a red onion relish, all inside a glazed poppy and sesame seed bun. Delicious. Tuck in until the 26th of April. Served after 11 a.m. Subject to availability. Only in participating restaurants. See mcdonalds.co.uk/homestyle crispy chicken for details.
We all know life is full of twists and turns, and sometimes plans just change. So when you travel by train with Avanti West Coast, we make it easy for you to change tickets for the event. Just requesting train and tickets to a different date or time. You can do that and so much more from our app. Download it today to help with your travel plans. Avanti West Coast. Feel good travel. Advance tickets only. App may be applies for changes requested after 6 p.m. day before departure. Further conditions apply.
Your open plan office. Let's face it, it's noisy with zero privacy. So, speak to the glass office people. They'll transform your workspace with versatile glass partitions. There's minimal disruption. They can work at night and weekends. And no hidden costs. That's pretty handy when you're running a business. Use their online pricing tool to see how cost-effective it can be. Theglassofficepeople.co.uk. Creating new spaces in places.
A squeezing across the chest. A feeling of ease. That sense something's right.
It can be easy to dismiss the early signs of a heart attack, but never too early to call 999 and describe your symptoms. Your NHS is here for you.
My prostate cancer was thankfully caught in the nick of time.
Alexa, stop. Your pipe is in Chicago. Chicago. Nice one, Cedric. Hope you like it. Which one did you go for in the end? I don't remember which one was yours anymore. Remind me. Where's my stem? Oh, gorgeous pipe. Lovely. Okay, I know which one that is. That's the one with the... I ordered another whole batch of those stems. Those rods, the blue and yellow. I've ordered the sort of thinner ones, and I've ordered the thicker ones. So I've got plenty stock. Keep me going for a good while. Those arrived today. How's everybody doing tonight? I've had a pretty slow day today. As you can see, I'd usually be much more advanced than this. My kids and my grandkids popped over, so I had to cut short the last live earlier this afternoon. Yeah, it was a bit short notice, but they were here and sort of hanging around waiting, so I hope nobody got offended. I don't know why this feels so tight. Got nice markings on this. This is a real horn as opposed to the faux stuff that I use. So really nice coloration on this one. And I've positioned it so it should be, so the lighter area is central at the top. So it should look sort of symmetrical. As symmetrical as it's going to be. I have to remember the order in which I did it last time. Well, the first thing to do is to shave off the plateau. I was going to do it on the bandsaw, but I decided not to. I decided just to do it by hand so that I maximize the briar. When you do it on a bandsaw, you end up cutting off more than you want to. And it's going to be curved anyway, so it made more sense to do it on the sander. Hey, Sharon. So cool. Mike Briar Blues just sent me a picture. These are called London Fog Croissants. And those of you who know will know. Nice one, Mike, if you're watching. I actually need to do another batch of London Fog. I have completely run out, I think. Might have a little bit out here. I don't have any upstairs. I don't even think I've got any here. But I do have a tin. You know, it's ridiculous, and I'm sure a lot of you will have the same experience. There's little bits of pockets of tobacco all over the place. One drawer here, I've got a bunch of tins. And I got some tobacco in just the other day, a few bits of old aged tobacco from Larison Pipes, who's been clearing the boards. And without realising it, I ended up with a whole bag of tobacco. Upstairs, I've got a pile here, a pile there, a pile there. I'm just scared if I was to put it all together in one place, how much it would actually be. So there, I've got some Virginia Woods 2017. So I've got to mix up some London Fog. I just took up a tin of Royal Golden Slush. I'm making my way through them, I must say. Jeff WV, he sent me a bunch of tins a while back, and I'm making my way through them, so I'm probably going to put in an order soon. Or maybe smokingpipes.com or something like that. You know, we always say, you know, when you've got a tobacco that you like, just make sure you've got plenty on hand, because you never know when it might disappear. And then you kick yourself that you didn't buy more. On the other hand, you end up with piles and piles of tobacco which you may never smoke. You might find something else that you like, you know. Earl Grey in a Yeti mug, that sounds good. That actually does sound very good. Could quite happily go a cup of Earl Grey right now. I'm not sure if my taste buds are a bit burnt out at the moment. I had a bowl of Orly Golden Sliced in this morning, and it really didn't taste right in the Costello. But I had a bowl in the small little apple that I've got upstairs, and it tasted great. And I kind of just had one bowl after another, and the second bowl just didn't taste right. And this cigar has been pretty good, but right now it's starting to get really harsh. It could just be it's the way it is. It's just that cigar getting towards the end, maybe. Hey, John. It's interesting you should say that, Chip, because when it comes to London Fog, which is the mixture of Orly Golden Sliced and Virginia Woods, I remember when I first came across that mixture and I started to enjoy it, I did a pressing of it as well, but I preferred it unpressed, and I preferred it pretty fresh, because the flavors were a little bit more spicy. When you let Virginia age, yes, it does get richer and sweeter, but it also mellows like any tobacco. And the Virginia Wood certainly mellows. And what I found was that the tobacco lost a little bit of its edge. So London Fog, I don't do anything to it. All I do is I take 2 tins, pour them together, mix them up by hand, put it in the jar. I don't squeeze it in. I leave plenty of air in there, and that's all I do, and that's how it tastes the best. And it tastes the best virtually straight away. And I've had sometimes Orly Golden Sliced also tastes good fresh. I can't really say to make a comparison between some really aged stuff and stuff which is maybe just a year or two old, because I haven't done a comparison like that for a long time. I have one tin, the square tin of Orly Golden Sliced, which is from before they changed the burley for Perique. It's from 2003, maybe. It's about 20 years old. I had 2 tins of them. One of them I made my first ever batch of London Fog. That's where it all started. And this second batch, I kind of, because it's so old, I just don't want to smoke it because it's so precious. Hey Charlotte, how you doing? Hey lad. No then, how you doing, Phil? Phil, I've got a proposition for you. I've been thinking about getting a special chuck made for my lathe. And who should I think of, obviously, but you. I'll be in touch about it. I've tried the RC5, the 515 RC1 on its own, and Art, if you guys remember Art, yeah, he sent me a pound bag of the stuff, which is still sealed, and I've got a jar of it still, so I don't need to even open that bag yet. I don't recall if I ever mixed it with Orly Golden Slice to see what it's like. I suppose I should try that. Basically what I want to do is to have some way of mounting stems onto my lathe, especially if the stem is already bent. So basically what it needs to be is a chuck, then with branches coming out really wide and then coming together to grip the round bit of the stem. So basically it's like a round hollow area here, and then it comes together just in a small area, like a little collar, so that I can mount stems easily. Rod stock is no problem, I'll just put it straight in the chuck. But if you notice, some of these stems, they're wider at the top, so if you put it into the chuck, it only grips this little bit because it's wider. So I want something that will jump over that and just grip that bit. But I'll be in touch with you at some point. So the pipe I'm making today is basically the same idea as this. This one obviously hasn't been shipped yet. I tend to leave, when I use lacquer, I like to leave it a little while to make sure it fully cures. So it'd be good to use it as a muse. Have to be careful not to get it dirty. I'm going to go to the sanding wheel in just a minute. Just enjoying a little bit of that cigar, trying to anyway. How you doing, Mark? So you're on days, are you? When are you off? When's your off days, Mark? When's your next set of off days? You're on the first of 4 nights. It must play havoc with you though, having, you know, changing around the whole time, sleeping by day and then sleeping by night. That's got to be tough. I'm not sure what I can do about this. This is a little bit tight for some reason. Oh, it's cooled down. Maybe it was warm. Oh, it's fine now. Whoa, 7 in. You're making up for lost time. That'll make up for when you earl, I guess. Do you get a choice in that, or you just have to do whenever they need you? Hey, Dorian. The cigar's tasting good now. Give it a bit of a purge. Three nights a week. Another warehouse. Okay. As long as you're getting the coin in. Good for you. You got the pyramid, cool. I hope you're going to show it. I'd like to see what it all looks like together. You going to do a video? Have you smoked the Ramses yet? Oh, you've got a video, cool. I'll have a look at that. Why didn't I see it? I'm sure I'm subscribed. Yeah, there you are. 1 hour ago, you just put it up. Cool. Nice. Boca is back. I think this thing needs new batteries. Keeps going off. That's better. That's an interesting pipe you got there, B-Dog. Looks interesting. Interesting rustication on that. Alright, I'm not listening to it, I'm just flicking through it. And you're taking your time. Oh, there you go. The Ramses comes out.
From Simon at LCS. And while that was being made, if you watch it being made, you know, there was a whole lot of discussion about it should have a nice stand and things like that. And there was a lot of folks talking about what should happen, and James Stumbo was talking about doing something for it, and it just kind of trailed off and didn't go anywhere from there. I was watching Stumbo's family gathering last week.
All right, John, get on with it.
And towards the end of it, James...
Woo, there it is.
It is.
Ooh.
The pyramid.
I'd like to know how he did the hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics. Very cool. And it opens up, and it's an ashtray. I won't use it as an ashtray. I'll use it for bits and bobs I have down here in my cave. But pretty cool. Egyptian goes with the Ramses pipe. What I'm gonna do with it is, even with my limited woodworking skills, I can make this. I'm gonna make a wooden tray for it to sit down into, and it'll be wide enough that I'll have a stand on the side.
Cool, cool.
And the Ramses will sit and stand
nice
in this wooden tray right alongside the pyramid. So that's the plan for it. hopefully get that done in the next month. And
that is going to look cool. All right, Mark, see you. That's how you knob a cigar. And when I want to annoy some of the pipe-only channels, I smoke a cigar in a pipe. That really gets the tongues wagging and the fingers, the keyboard police, getting very frustrated, powerless against my evil scheming. Yeah, so I've been doing that for quite a while. It's nothing new. I'm not the first person to do it. You probably want to smoke it in a Virginia pipe though. You don't really want to start to get latakia unless you enjoy that, but otherwise, if you put it in an aromatic or latakia or something like that, then, you know. Yeah, you're quite right, John. I generally tend to wear it in the summer. When I'm wearing extra layers when I'm cold, I don't wear it. It's just too many layers. It's quite heavy, so I tend to wear it when I'm just wearing a t-shirt and shorts. Then usually I'll wear it. Overpack my ball. And very skillfully too, in a vertical tube-like fashion. Yeah, I mean, it's a good apron. I had that custom made by a leather, someone on Instagram, I forget her name now, the lady, and she does some really nice handbags and stuff like that. I was lucky I got in quite early in her career. Now she'd probably charge double. I think I paid, and it's still a lot of money. I think I paid about £120 for it. It's a big piece of leather. I told her I wanted it to go almost to the floor and to wrap around me, and there's quite a bit to wrap around. Because I've had aprons before and they're literally just a square, you know, in front, and with all the dust that's flying around. And originally my idea was to be able to just come in my normal clothes and work with that apron, but obviously that wasn't practical anyway because everything gets covered in dust. So the apron doesn't really help that much in that respect, so I only really wear it now when I haven't got as much protection on. Well, this isn't protection, but it's another layer. So if I'm just in a t-shirt and shorts, then I'll usually wear the apron. So usually in the summer. It's starting to warm up now anyway. The days have been really bright and sunny, but it's still, in the morning it's cold, in the evening it's cold. Right now it's getting cold again, really cold. But it's nice to have the spring, it really is. On the workshop front, still haven't had the insurance get in touch about doing the roof. And the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that I need to move inside into my office upstairs. And what basically because that's my best way of having a fairly consistent temperature. Working in the heat or working in the cold, you know, it's going to have different effects on the briar when you're working on it. So I prefer to be in a consistent temperature. And I don't want to have the hassle every year of heating this thing up or cooling it down. In the summer, there's no aircon in here or anything like that, so there's fans. So it's really hot to work in. And the briar also is warmer, so it expands. Even if it expands a drop, you know, when you then take it into a colder environment and it contracts again, then you could end up having a loose tenon. Not such a problem with the 9mm tenons because they're quite flexible, but with non-filtered pipes certainly. So it's a hassle each season to have to deal with the rain, the cold, and you know, okay, when I get a new roof, hopefully I won't have to deal with the rain. But I'll just be a lot happier, I think, indoors. It's a lot smaller, so what I'm probably going to do, and also I'll be restricted in terms of the noise that I can make at night. So what I'm probably going to do is leave one lathe down here. So I've got the option of working out here if I need to, if there was a push on and I needed to get a lot of work done or something like that. So I still have a lathe down here to be able to work. Something along those lines, I think. If I leave the small lathe down here, it doesn't take up too much room. I could probably make myself a small little area, a corner, a workbench, like a self-contained workshop, all on one bench, so that it doesn't take over this room, and I could still carry on using this room for whatever else. That's in my mind. That's my plan. Okie dokes, let's go and do some work. Alright guys, let's go over to the shaping wheel. Oh, there's my brush. Hi Sandro. Yeah, like I was saying, so the late night stuff in terms of the noise, what I'd probably just do is just change slightly my workflow, so that maybe instead of doing one pipe from beginning to end, maybe I'll do two, do all the noisy stuff during the day, and just do the hand sort of sanding, staining, and that kind of stuff in the evening, and then the buffing the following morning, possibly, something along those lines. Oh, hey, buddy. Oh. Let me just get it a bit wet, see if I can see some of the grain. So I don't know if you can see, you can't really see the grain, but it's covered in bird's eye anyway. So the last one I did a carve blast on the back, which I may well do again on this one. The shaping on this one, this sort of bit here, is a little bit different to the last one. The last one was completely flat. I didn't have room to make this little bit of a shank, but on this one I did. So you can see the difference. There is a little bit of it there, I suppose. It is actually quite similar, but it's just bigger. It's quite a bit bigger. So yeah, it's looking really good. Very happy with it. So next stage is just lots of hand sanding. I need to make a decision about the back. I may leave it smooth. We shall see. The grain's not bad actually. Right, I've got to go inside for a minute. You're welcome to hang around. Gotta go and see you know who. I could probably put a church warden stem on there as well and give it an option. Church warden option. Toast, that sounds good. A bit of butter. I feel like I got a bunch of dust down my throat, but I was wearing a mask. Hey Cole, how are you? I'm just starting to focus on getting that little curve just there to be consistent all the way down. I just love it when, like, that little curve there. You see it on both sides. There. See that? Let's skip stuff, whichever one. I'm not smoking right now. I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. Ooh, that sounds good, Dorian. I'm sanding this little junction here because I couldn't get to it with a sanding wheel. And there's a little mark. Can you see that line right there? And I'm just slowly trying to get into it without changing the shape of the pipe. So I'm using a 240 grit. I mean, I could go down to 180 or lower and probably sand it out quite quickly, but I'm just sort of slowly working into it. Almost there. It's looking nice. See, there's a bit of a stepped, that's a little bit further out, and that's a little bit further in. You see that? I think I'm going to leave it like that. I quite like it. I could sculpt that a little bit more to make it equal. Maybe I should. Yeah, I think I should. Hi, James. How are you feeling, James? Your sinuses cleared up? James is live in 6. What, isn't it an hour early? I thought you start at 12 my time. Seven to 9. Yeah. Oh, right. Did you change recently? I think we're changing this Saturday night. Right, okay, I got you. In that case, guys, I will sign off and I will give way to James. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great evening. I'm sure James's will be great fun as always. Catch you on the next one.